Alright guys, I'm bored and I feel like chatting. It is your lucky day. Just kidding. Probably not y'all's lucky day unless you like hearing me yap about random topics. So where do we start? I already cried earlier today, so we're not doing that anymore. Um I don't want to talk about my problems. We don't want to talk about that right now. Mm. So I started decluttering my Juicy Couture purses. So I currently have some listed on my Depop. And since I'm in the process of kind of like packing slash going through my things, I think I'm going to try to get more collection videos uploaded for you guys. So I started doing my makeup bag collections, which I've done about 6 of those. And then I've shown all of my purses, except for like my newest ones, which my newest purses are all like mixed in with other haul videos that I've shown. But I'm doing like I do a lot, have been filming more of like that types of content on TikTok and then just reposting them to this channel. So if you guys don't follow me on TikTok, y'all pretty much see everything that I post on there on here, because I repost almost all of the videos on my TikTok, also to YouTube, because TikTok might go away again. And also I actually I don't know, it's just I'd rather share that content on multiple platforms in case it all disappears, and I like to have backups of everything because that's just how I am. Anyways, I wanted to talk about something and it was on my mind, but I lost the plot. Ugh. I said I want to make this a fun video, but there's a kind of serious one thing that I saw that I kind of wanted to react to. Oh, I remember the other thing. So the first part, I'm going to make it quick. So this person was doing interviews, street interviews. They were pro-life. They were talking about their stance, and it was a girl. She was interviewing some other person who had approached her, and basically she punched the girl in the face, like literally physically assaulted her, got violent because she didn't like something the interviewer said, and then like assaults her and runs off. And I just think that is so sick to me, that there are people who resort to violence because they don't like what someone has to say. Like, there is never an excuse to get violent with someone or assault someone just because you don't like something they said. It's just like, that is the most maybe like ignorant, small-minded, I don't know, it just to me is like, I know this doesn't represent everything, but it's just like, it shows where we are as a society, that people think people's best response to disagreeing with someone is being violent or spitting or attacking them. And I feel like, especially when it comes to like certain political topics, of course, there's people who get like irrationally angry. Like, and I honestly believe it's people's demons. I think it's people's demons reacting to someone calling out the evil things that their demons support. I don't know. Because being so triggered by something someone says that you resort to violence is a crazy way to respond to something. And that's the only way I can rationalize it. I feel like it literally is like you irritate people's demons when you tell the truth, and that's why they get angry and violent towards people, because that's not a rational response. Like, a rational response to hearing something you don't disagree with is maybe just walking away, or saying like, oh, well, I have a difference of opinions, walk away. That's a mature way to respond to something. But some people are actually just mentally unstable. So I just wanted to say that I saw this video and it really just like, it I hope that that woman finds the girl and presses charges on her. She deserves to be in jail because you don't punch someone in the face for any reason, especially when they are not physically attacking you. They weren't being aggressive towards her in any ways. Like, she was not threatened at any point. She literally punched this girl in the face because she didn't like what the girl said. And I'm just like, that is not how you handle a disagreement. And I honestly think, like I said, the only way I can rationalize it is people's demons are coming out when people's demons are triggered by the truth. I don't know. But also, we live in a political state where there are people who believe violence is the best way to respond to certain things. And I just think that is completely anti-peace, completely devalues and undermines. Like, if your only way to get your point across is to be violent towards another person, you have already lost, because violence is not the answer. Violence is never the solution. If you have to resort to violence in order to get your way in this world, all that shows is that you have nothing but hatred and anger and rage, and that you are willing to inflict harm on other people in order to get your way. It's literally just like, there's nothing great. There is no reason you should ever encourage violence as a solution to a problem. Okay, that's all for that topic. Okay. Next, I'm going to be doing responding, I guess, to this is kind of like not really a personal topic, but there was this video on The Cut, like, called Guess Who's the Virgin, right? And I watched it, and all it was very cringy for me to watch, because it's like a bunch of people, honestly, just the way some people talk about sex, I feel like just shows like people, there's a lot of immature people in this world. And like they still talk, like, have like just a very immature high school mindset over on the topic of like someone being a virgin or someone. It's just like, it shouldn't matter that much at the end of the day. Personally, I think like I've seen people pass, it's almost like there's more judgment for someone being a virgin sometimes than someone not being a virgin. But anyways, the video is super cringe. I was cringing watching most of it, and some people's like, I'm just like, why are we acting like this? Why is it okay for people to, like, I don't know, be sexually what's the word? I honestly think it's really just like immature. Some people are very immature when it comes to the topic of sex. But basically in the video, they are trying to guess who is and isn't a virgin based off of, most of it is just like stereotypes. People were assuming certain things about other people. But I honestly know I have a perspective on sex that's maybe not popular, but also I just feel like it's also rational and objective. Like, I feel like people treat sex way too casual, in my opinion. Sex is not casual when it's literally what creates human beings. If you create a whole nother life when you have sex. So I don't know why we treat it like it's just and one girl made a really good point. She was like, because this girl was basically being like, oh, you need to try all the flavors of ice creams. And she was just like, yeah, human beings are not flavors of ice cream. Like, basically, the girl is a virgin, right? And this one girl responded to her basically saying, like, she wanted to wait till marriage because XYZ. Like, she gave, like, really rational reasons. And she was like, but what about trying all the flavors of ice cream? And she gave, like, the best response. Like, people are not flavors of ice cream. Like, why are we treating people, sleeping with people, as if it's just trying a new flavor of ice cream? It's like, honestly, it's a very objectifying way to view other human beings, like for sexual gratification, as if people are sexual objects. But it's also just like shows like there are some very immature, in my opinion, ways people treat sex, talk about sex, act about sex. And I feel like people who are waiting till marriage actually typically have the most mature mindset around sex, because you treat it with more scrutiny. You treat it like it's something that's actually meaningful and important. And I think that that is something that gets lost in a lot of these conversations. Now, I honestly think it's different to be for someone who decides, like, they're, I don't know. I mean, to each their own in a sense, but also like I feel like it's different for someone who doesn't want to be a virgin, but it feels like they're forced to be one, versus someone who's makes that choice willingly, like, hey, I don't want to sleep around because of XYZ. And for the people who, I guess, are not willingly making that decision, and it's kind of just as as um as like a side thought or a side quest, I don't know. I feel like there's a little bit weird, not weird, but there's a difference, I would say, between those people, because it's not necessarily an intent, I'm intentional about it. It's more like, oh well, I just haven't found someone in XYZ. I feel like people who are waiting till marriage have a lot more there's an intention behind it. Intentionality. And I feel like the intentions behind it show the maturity surround that person, in my opinion. Shows there's a maturity of that person, um and how they view sex. But anyways, that video was so cringe. The comments also, I feel like the comments though did show me that there's more mature people watching the videos than the people making the videos. But it was just overall awkward. I just think there's so many stereotypes about people being virgins, being like awkward, not being confident, being weird, having all of these other issues, when it's really just like people can choose to have sex or not have sex for any reason. And even if it's religious reasons, because people act like someone choosing to not have sex because of their religion is somehow not a good enough reason, when I feel like it's a perfectly rational reason for a lot of people. People pretend that's not a good enough reason. But regardless, I just think like the way some people talk about sex is just very immature. And that's what made that video cringe, in my opinion. There was something else. Okay. Something that I have realized about myself for a very long time. I've talked about my non-existent dating, my non-existent dating life, and I am not upset that I'm not dating, because I don't want to date right now. I personally think I am emotionally unavailable. I recognize, but in a healthy sense, not in a toxic sense. Like, I'm not actively trying to date anyone. I'm not going out of my way. I literally know I'm not ready to date anyone, so I'm not dating. I also just don't seek to date anyone. At this point in my life, it is not a priority for me to date, so I don't. But what I've come to realize, and this is what I would tell younger people too, I think a lot of people find themselves in very toxic relationships out of the desperation of wanting to have a partner and maybe being scared of being alone. And I feel like too many women tolerate toxic relationships because they either don't want to be single, um and get attached to the wrong person. I just don't know. Well, let me say what I was gonna say. What I was gonna say is I'm never been scared to be single. And when I tell people, I truthfully do not seek any validation from men. Men giving me attention does not do anything for me as a person. It's like I really don't care. And when I say that, I feel like some people don't understand what I mean by that. It's like because I don't see men's validation, or I would say even men's attraction to me being a prize or being something I need or that validates me as a person. Like, it doesn't define my worth as a woman. And I also just think I've had an experiences where like when I was younger, I used to think it was something to be like, wow, like this a lot of this man likes me, this makes me feel so good. Now that I'm older, I could care less because it doesn't, getting attention from a lot of men is not that valuable in my opinion. It's only valuable if you seek male validation. Like if you are looking to have someone yearn over you in order to feel like you are enough or you are important, then you're going to value that attention. For me, it's like I wouldn't value that attention unless it's from someone that I actually cared about, you know? It's like just getting attention from men, but it's not a man that I'm interested in or want to date. And because I have no interest no interest in dating at this point, it's just like there's not attention I could get from someone that I would care about. Um that's the most subjective way I can say it. It's almost like I said this, like every time I got on dating apps, I felt like I was wasting those men's time because I really had no like desire to really date anyone. And it was like I would get messages from people. And when I say this, I hope people understand, like, I can recognize that someone is objectively attractive, right? I could get attention from a person who is objectively attractive, but it doesn't, I don't value it because I don't think someone just being physically attractive is like enough for me to like someone. It's like even when I talked about like my TikTok crush, and there my TikTok crush is someone that I feel like they are physically attractive to me, but their personality is not attractive to me at all. It's so funny. Basically it was just like I get the ick. I get the ick way too, not way too quickly. I just think it's just like there's certain things that I can see or observe about someone that I'm just like, that's not attractive, that will make me lose interest, right? So it's just like, just because someone looks a certain way doesn't mean, like, just because I can't find someone physically attractive doesn't mean I'm going to like them. Like, I can be like, oh yeah, this person's physically attractive or is attractive, but I don't want them or I don't like them, or doesn't mean I want to be in a relationship with them. And I feel like I personally think it would take a lot for me to want to date someone. I also feel like I would have to know that person's character in order to be attracted to them, because I feel like what I'm actually attracted to is characteristics, like personality, character, ambition, how someone treats other people. It's just like I don't hold physical like attraction as being the most important thing in a partner. But also I just there's not a lot of people that pique my interest anyways. And also I'm not emotionally available or ready to date. I'm not worried about dating. It's like I can watch other couples and be happy for them and be like, oh, that's so great. They found someone. They have a beautiful family. They have a beautiful relationship. But I don't feel like I'm missing out just because I don't have those things. Like, I'm not envious of other people's relationships. It truly is like I'm at peace being single. And I feel like maybe not every person is, and I wasn't always this way. I feel like that is something I grew into, I guess, this mindset, because there was a time where I felt like I wasn't enough, or I was missing out, or I was behind because I wasn't dating, or I didn't have a relationship, or XYZ. It's just like it's very easy to compare yourself to what other people have and think you're missing out. But the older I get, the more I realize, what's meant for me is will find me, and I'm okay where I'm at. I'm 29, and just because I'm not dating anyone or not actively seeking a partner doesn't mean I'll never have that. It's just that's not where I am in my life right now. And that's okay. It doesn't make me any less valuable in the world. I don't think being single is this horrible experience. I think you make of being single what you can. I also just think, like, honestly, observing other people's relationships has taught me to appreciate being single, because some of y'all are in relationships and in hell. I'm quoting Chapel Roan because I don't know that much about her, but she made that video talking about all her friends that she knows has kids are in hell. I'm not gonna say something like that because I don't agree with that. But some people are in relationships pretending to be happy while actually being in hell. And that's something that I'm learning by watching people's share their stories of toxic relationships that they were in for years on years, and then once they get out, they're like, oh yeah, this relationship was actually horrible. And it's just like a lot of people are actually miserable in relationships. And you're single thinking like, oh, I'm missing out. And there's people in relationships that are really actually not that happy. And I think part of that reason is I don't think should depend on a relationship to make you happy. But if you're in a relationship with someone and they're not a good partner, meaning they're not showing up for you in the ways you want them to show up for you, there's not a reciprocal, and I feel like the basis of every relationship should be a friendship. I don't understand why, like, if you don't see your partner as being your friend, at the bare minimum, I feel like there's something array in that relationship. I think the bare minimum should be your friend. And there's certain things that need to be reciprocated in a relationship for it to be successful. I would say respect, commitment, love. What was the other one? And commitment. Wait, I think I said commitment twice. Love, respect, commitment. Those need to be mutual. Like, if you don't have respect for that person, you don't love that person, you're also not committed to that person, what are you doing? What's the reason? So anyways, I learn from observations. I also learn from other people's mistakes. I listen to what other people experience, and say, hey, I think I'd rather not do that. But also, I think because I am more, like, I don't want to say, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with being picky. I'm not picky about superficial things. I'm picky about the things that I feel like actually matter in the long run. So I'm picky about the things such as someone's character, how they treat people, XYZ. And quite frankly, like I said before, nobody piques my interest at this point. Like, I'm not interested in dating anyone. And it's like, there's people interested in dating me. I'm just not interested in dating people. It's like, I'm not single because of a lack of options. It's like the options that are available to me. I don't want to say this because I'm like, I'm not trying to sound like I'm not better than anyone. I'm not better than anyone. It's really just like there has to be, you have to both like each other, right? If one person likes someone in the relationship and the other person is not interested, you can't have a relationship where there's not a mutual interest in people, right? And I feel like I've always had it where someone's interested in me and I'm not interested in them, or I'm interested in them and they're not interested in me. And I feel like even when that happens, it's like I lose interest at the end of the day. If someone's like, I'm not gonna waste my time, I'm not gonna pine after someone, you know? Like, if I was interested in dating someone and then they weren't interested in dating me, there's not going to be a relationship because there has to be a mutual interest in each other in order for that to happen, right? So it's like, I'm not going to waste my time. Oops. I'm not going to waste my time, you know, chasing a man. I'm not going to do that either. So, anyways, I feel like I am single by choice, but also I don't think I'm missing out on anything. And I feel like when you start comparing yourself to other people and think, oh, because you don't have a relationship, oh, because you're not going on dates, or because you're not doing this, you're missing out. No, you're not. I hope that people realize it's like everyone has their own journey in life. There are more people experiencing the same things you are than you think. Don't think you're alone. Don't think you're the only one. Don't think you're different from everyone else. You know, everyone has to go at their own pace. And I honestly think like it's taking people a little bit longer. Like, my parents' generation, they got married very young. My mom, at my current age, had 3 kids, was probably pregnant with my youngest sister, and was married. I'm nowhere in that vicinity, right? But when I was younger, I used to think I would be married with kids by the time I was 25. And I'm 29 now. So it's just like, I never thought I was going to be single this long either, but I can't force. It's like you can plan something for your life, but you can't force things to happen in that time frame. And I think for me, I ultimately still trust God with my future spouse and relationship. If there's someone God has for me, they will come into my life at the right time. And I don't think now is the right time. Now is not the right time for me. I have a lot of I feel like I just have a lot of growing and maturing I need to do in some other areas of my life. I think my finances, I still need more maturing. I need more maturing in other areas of my life too. And it's just like, I can recognize, I'm not saying you have to be perfect in order to date someone, but I do think there's certain areas you should be a little more mature in. Well, I want to be more mature in before I try to date. And for me, I don't want to go into a relationship having like my finances be a hot mess, or having like a lot of debt and stuff like that. So that's something I kind of am like, I want to be in a better place financially before I consider dating, because I don't know. I just don't want to be dating people and have all of these, like all of these other issues in my life, you know? I want to be like just doing in my best, like just doing better, I guess, or in a better place than I currently am. So I mean, that's one reason I think don't feel like I'm ready to date right now. But I also just think it's not a priority for me either. Like, I'm not scared to be single. I don't think I'm missing out on something if I'm not dating. And I also just think like there's I still have time. Like, it's not it's not something that I'm super focused on, because I don't think focusing on it will help anyways. I feel like sometimes people think like, oh, I'm running out of time if I don't find someone now, and then they settle, and that's when people get into the wrong relationships, because they're getting into a relationship with someone out of fear and out of desperation and out of thinking they're running out of time. I don't want to do that either, okay? So we're just going to trust God's timing for my life, and if and when I'm supposed to meet the right person, it will happen. So yeah, that's all.